In part 1 of our 3-part interview with Tim Draper at Crypto Invest Summit, we discuss his thoughts on mass adoption, how he got into crypto, and why it is so important. Tim Draper is in the house. Welcome, Tim.
Hey, thank you. You guys waited 5.5 hours for me. I sure hope it's worth it.
It is. Will
yeah,
you sign
books for
5.5? Like, do you need like a hand massage?
Yeah. Oh, actually, that would be good. That would be good.
So Tim, we talk to so many people, and we hear all over the place, mass adoption is around the corner. It's 10 years off. What are your thoughts?
Here's the way I look at it. There are a lot of great entrepreneurs and inventors and engineers that are all working to make Bitcoin prolific everywhere, so that we are ubiquitous. Sorry, it has been 5 hours of silence. So they're doing everything they can to make it more, make us all use it more. And right now, Bitcoin is terrific for sending money across borders, for storing value, storing your money. It's terrific for any kind of remittance, but the potential of Bitcoin is so much greater. People, at some point, they're going to be able to do everything that they can do with the dollar they can do with Bitcoin, and as soon as that happens, people are going to make that trade-off. Well, for some things it's going to be easier to use Bitcoin, but they're going to make a trade-off. Do I want a political currency, or do I want one that's global and decentralized and beautiful and open and honest? And I think people will choose Bitcoin in that case. And I think that is when the big swing will happen, when it becomes a lot more ubiquitous and we're all using it for our water and Starbucks and whatever else that we need, and we don't even know the difference. You'll have your Bitcoin wallet, and the wallet will also hold whatever fiat you have, but slowly but surely you'll spend your fiat and move it toward Bitcoin. And I think that's the way most people will operate.
So I have a question, because that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
Now, if we bring it back to the beginning for you, like what?
Oh, when I got going into it?
Yeah, like it was an auction.
Before the auction. Way before the auction.
I feel like there was a certain amount of confidence, I guess is the PC way to say it, in getting involved. Now, did you research it beforehand? You know what I mean? Like, or was it just like a feeling? And So
it was maybe 2003 when I met this guy from Korea, and he said, and there were these new massively multiplayer games, MMOPG, and he said that 40% of Korea is playing this game. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And it's so important that I have to hire somebody to be my avatar when I'm away at work, so that at least I'm always online and I can gain the inventory and whatever else I need. And I started to think, so they look at it as there's this physical world we're all in,
right,
and then there's this virtual world that people can participate in that will be much more imaginative and much more a bigger part of our world. And I thought, wow, virtual world, virtual real estate, virtual. So I've been watching all of that for a long time. And then, and a lot of games were sort of that way, where they had virtual money, but nobody connected them. And all of a sudden there was this virtual currency, Bitcoin, that came out of nowhere. And I thought, whoa, I really want to do that. And so I jumped in, and I bought some, and I also put some money into this guy who was going to go mine it for me, and he went and he designed an ASIC with the money. The people who made the ASIC for him didn't deliver, and Bitcoin price went from 4 to 36. We were all going, what's going on? Turns out they were using the chip to mine
so that they could
get it.
That's
and
scandalous.
then it was awful.
Yeah.
And then finally they delivered the chip, and then he starts mining, and we get a little bit of Bitcoin. And then he said, well, then we're going to keep all our Bitcoin with this great exchange. It's the biggest exchange. They're 60% market share, and it was Mt. Gox. And Mt. Gox disappeared, $400 million. Just the money just left.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting there, and I was thinking, oh my God, well, I guess that's the end of it. I had a great, I really liked the idea of this virtual money. I really thought that the future was going to be awesome this way. But now look at what they did. The biggest exchange became criminal. And then Bitcoin only dropped about 10 or 15% on that news. And I thought, oh wow, people really need this. I thought it was gone. I thought that was zero, nothing.
People are out.
Yeah, but instead they stayed with it, and people really needed it. And that's when you asked, did I do research? That's when I researched. I thought, what are people using this for? You know, of course they were buying drugs with it, and they were buying guns and whatever else. But
like,
then there was, then I thought, I saw the demand. But then I saw people sending it to their families in the Philippines, and people, and then there was this big run, kind of thing about the unbanked. And I kept saying, well, what about the unbanked? And then they said, they explained to me that Wells Fargo doesn't want your business if you've got $200 or less, because it costs them $200 a year just to comply with all the regulation with your account.
Yeah.
So if you want to set up an account for $12.36, they push you away, and then you're unbanked. So suddenly there is a currency that the unbanked can participate in this world economy with. And I thought, wow, this is really big. It's like 3 billion people. And that was where it was like, this is so important, I'm just going all in. Yeah. And that's when the auction happened, and I said, well, I'm just buying the whole auction. All my friends,
all
my friends were saying how they were going to get this special, since it's a volume discount, and the U.S. Marshal's office looked like they were kind of desperate to try to get rid of this stuff. I thought, you know, everybody's bidding below market, and I thought, either this thing's going to be enormous or it's going to be nothing.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if it's going to be enormous, it's going to be worth so much more than the $632 I'm bidding. And if the difference is I get 10% better, it won't matter.
Right.
And so I bid above market, knowing that no one else was bidding above market. And I got all the 9 lots. And then Bitcoin just went. I was clearly the stupidest person on the planet for about 6 months, while Bitcoin went from 632 down to 180.
Right.
But I was such a believer, it didn't really matter. I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't paying attention when it was 17,000, and I'm not really paying attention now, because I'm saying this is so important.
We'll continue to talk with Tim Draper about cryptocurrency and the idea of virtual residency in part 2 of our interview.